And that was South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham's last appearance with me here on this program back in early March, supporting the president's Operation Epic Fury against Iran. Senator Graham passed away last night after what his office described as a brief and sudden illness. Senator Lindsey Graham was 71 years old. Tributes are pouring in this morning from across the world, including from President Trump, who wrote on Truth Social, quote, "Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the greatest people and senators I have ever known, is dead. He was always working and was a true American patriot. Lindsey will be greatly missed." Joining me now is one of Lindsey Graham's colleagues in the Senate, Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee. Senator, my condolences to you and your colleagues this morning.
Look, Senator Graham's passing is a real loss. All of us who knew him, who worked with him, appreciated his sense of humor, his enthusiasm for life. And the man didn't do anything half-heartedly. And we will miss him. We're still coming to terms with the fact that he's gone.
Of course. Everyone is shocked this morning. We all learned very late last night. And I wonder how things change as a result of this. Lindsey Graham was trying to execute President Trump's agenda, as you have been as well. How do you think things change in the Senate without Lindsey Graham there?
Well, look, there will be a massive hole in the Senate in the size and shape of Lindsey Graham. It will impact everything. In the short term, we're down one senator. We're down to 52 Republicans instead of 53. There are plans of succession in place, of course, and I'm sure those will unfold in the coming days and weeks. Nonetheless, the impact of this can't be overstated.
And one of the pieces of legislation that the senator talked about and supported was the Save America Act, something that you co-sponsored, that you have been pushing for a long time. What are your expectations for the Save America Act?
Look, this is something that Senator Lindsey Graham spent a lot of time with. Like me, he had a lot of enthusiasm for this bill, which I introduced in the Senate about 2.5 years ago. I believe, Maria, that there are multiple paths ahead by which we could pass this. Maybe that involves attaching it to another must-pass vehicle. Maybe it involves bringing it up on the floor and debating it until it passes, something that I've long advocated. Maybe it involves picking out pieces of it that could be implemented through creative uses of budget reconciliation. I'm not terribly partial to any of these three. I personally prefer the second. I think that would give us our best chance. But I will take any opportunity to debate this, any opportunity to cause it to become law, because the American people deserve it. The American people want it. Voters overwhelmingly support it to the tune of about 80%. That's Democrats and Republicans alike. One of the best ways we could honor Lindsey Graham's legacy would be to take this up and pass it this month.
Well, I mean, can you give us a little color of what the problem is within the Senate? Because John Thune joined me a few weeks ago here and told me that he just simply doesn't have the votes, does not have the support for passing Save America Act or removing the filibuster, even though we know that the Democrats are going to do that. And the Democrat Socialists of America are about to unveil their platform next week, and part of it is to remove the filibuster. So what's going on in the Senate? Where is the disagreement there on a piece of action that actually has 80% of voters' support?
Maria, the disagreement lies in what happens when you approach a bill that doesn't yet have 60 votes. 60 votes is what it takes to achieve cloture. That's one way of forcing debate to come to a close. But there are other ways of bringing debate to a close, and there are also other ways of getting a bill to 60. They take time. They take effort on the Senate floor, and I think there's been some disagreement as to what's most important. But look, if you examine what it is that voters want right now, overwhelmingly, not only do they support this bill, but they understand that it ought to take preeminence. It ought to take precedence over other legislation we should be supporting right now. So I think that's where the disagreement lies, is in the vision that we can pass this, even though we don't yet have 60 votes. We do have a simple majority. And on the technique, the method by which we bring it about. But it does take effort and some creative thinking. We can get it done.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.